Okay, folks, good morning. We need to do a bit of tidying up here. This is, I can see a big cleanup happening over the weekend. It's not huge, it's just there's shit in places it shouldn't be. That's all. And we got little scraps of clippings and things like that. Nothing major, just chaos by the tank load. All right. So where we left off is we got to paint this guy's boots. Got to paint this guy's boots, and then he's done. We can seal him. This guy's seal just needs names. And we're going to pick out two names for this guy, and then we'll start on the next guy. What the hell is this down here? Oh, the cord? Obstinate cord. All right. Oh, you falling down on the job? These paint bottles, when they start getting empty, they get really weird. They get more weight at the top than at the bottom, and they're a pain to deal with. So let's go ahead and put some matte varnish. I'm already getting ahead of myself. No, yes, we need to do that, but we got to paint his boots brown. I don't know that I would even notice that much, but this is this damn werewolf fur that was misbehaving the other day. And the black's over here. I'd like to finish one thing before I start something else, but that's not always possible. What's up, Wolfman? You going back to the Eastern Front yet? I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend, but the wife just left. So let the party start. And I found out last night when I was going to bed, they dropped the new season of new season. Season's a bit sounds like it's more epic than it is, of Black Mirror. So 6 episodes. I'll have that knocked out this weekend. It's funny because I don't watch horror movies at all, and I find Black Mirror is very horror movie like. I'm like expecting something to happen. It's going to startle me. Let me get the names. The soldier names. Maybe it won't be that. Maybe there won't be an episode like last season that really pissed me off. That astronaut one. Those figures look cool. Awesome, thank you. Pretty Little Princess. Not been back to the Gulag yet. Well, I go in a little while. Oh, that's the salt mine. Sorry. All right. Who we got here? This guy throwing a grenade. I don't know who he is. One of these two guys. Where's this Irish guy I got here? Hanrahan. I have a Hanrahan or something, don't I? Yeah, I have a hammer hand. I can't wait to use McGillicuddy, but I got to use that for some limp looking dude. You damn McGillicuddy. Hampton sounds like a Hampton sounds like a guy that'd be like the sergeant. Has to have a suitable pitcher style name. Well, I don't know shit about baseball. I've only been to one baseball game my entire life. It happened a couple weeks ago. I don't know shit about baseball. Maybe I should ask a Brit what's a good baseball game. Jeffrey, that video you sent me, I've seen it before. And really, what I should do is, I don't know how to do it, but because I'm not really computer savvy, I should make videos commenting on some of those battles. And I don't know how they happen, whether somebody actually clicked on the stuff or they just put it on autopilot. Because there is a way to play those games. Oh, jeez. You creaky son bitch. There's a way to play those games as two people on two, and then you can come in as the third person, and you just don't buy anything. So you move the camera around and stuff like that. But yeah, that one scene at the beginning, where I lost 3 months of my life looking at all those Panzer threes without the storage box in them in supposedly 1942. I'm like, the only Panzer threes that didn't have storage boxes is because the thing got blown off of it, or it's a Befless Panzer. But even the Befless Panzers in 40 and 42 all pretty much had turret boxes. You have to go to 41 to find some that don't. But anyways, there was this scene where this Panzer III and this and the half track and the German half track. The Panzer III pulls up, the German half track pulls up behind, and Panzer III starts engaging something. Makes sense, right? The guys pour out of the half track, and then the half track takes off to the left. Like, what are you advancing with? You know, like they didn't make very many German half tracks in that time period. Like, you got to save your resources. Don't go and throw the freaking thing away. So they dumped the squad off, and then the half track goes on the advance by itself. Like, no wonder it got knocked out. Red Hood. All right, back to the picture guide. Is this all of them? I got a lot of Americano names. Bickford. That sounds like Tim the Toolman Taylor's line. That's Binford. I didn't just come out of these. I didn't just pull these out of my ass. I'm pretty sure that all these were names that you would encounter playing close combat. Here's another one. I think he uses mods. Not very historical, but entertaining for what they are. Yeah, I like the. Do I have a sniper guy? I do. He doesn't fit on the penny yet, so I got to make a stand for him. Yeah, like the guy from Saving Private Ryan. What was his name? Jackson. Yeah. Yeah, he's a pretty cool figure. And I've got some really, excuse you, I've got some really crappy, because these figures are all, I mean, they're soft plastic, but they look good. I've got some really crappy ones from Platoon 20 that are still made by East Front Miniatures. My favorite one of his battles is the one that they're crossing a river, and it's like CeeLo Heights. There's some crazy shit that happens in that one. You got like JS's crossing like the water and stuff, and an elephant or something will show up, or some big beasts in that one. No, those are fun. Those are fun to watch, as long as you don't get too close and look at the the numbering system on the turret on some of those vehicles. I'm like, what? Come on. All right. Um, names. All right, the guy with the BAR is going to be. What do we got? We got an Irishman. We got an Irishman, a Puerto Rican, and an American walk into a bar. This guy chucking the grenade looks like a Tobin. Looks like a Tobin. And the guy with the BAR, the whole time I was painting him, I was thinking this is Hanrahan. So we're gonna have Hanrahan and Tobin. Make sure there's nothing wet here. Cut these out, and I'll have to print them again. All right, where the hell's my X-Acto knife? Yeah, this place is out of control. It doesn't help that I'm nearsighted as all get out. Here we go. It's all the way over here. I remember one of the things that I enjoyed getting the most is, well, I was playing the Germans. I was playing the Germans on a campaign. And it just gets to the point where it gets silly. It's funny because the game generally is hard, and then you get a leg up, and then you keep getting so like you have a hard time knocking out the Russian tanks, and then you capture a Russian tank like a KV, and then you're set, right? And then you get enough points you can buy some of the Panzer threes with the long barrels. You can buy a Panzer IV long barrels, buy a couple of Panzer IVs with long barrels, buy Panthers. Then you got 3 or 4 Panthers in your little Panther group. Then you're set, right? And then all of a sudden you'll encounter a battle where you just get hosed. You get lose like half of your tanks. But then you'll do something like you'll capture like a Russian 100 millimeter gun. I captured that thing. I'm like, I'm using that thing. That's low profile. I know you can't move it with a shit because it weighs more than a tank. But that's a good weapon. So we had to capture the 100 millimeter gun. And the campaign, I'm not really a fan of the campaign. The campaign makes you I don't like those set piece battles because it makes you do certain things in a certain way. Like you need to defeat this enemy, but you have to do it without like all these conditions. Like, why don't you play the fucking game then? Like I don't mind those games where you have to sneak around, but if like you get spotted, like there's still a war on, right? Like you got to fight your way out. Like I get it. You only give me a fucking pistol and one round and one magazine. I get it. But if I find somebody with something else, like I mean, James 007 only gets a PPK and whatever that thing holds, 6 rounds or whatever, of 380. But he'll pick up an AK if he comes across one, right? You need to blast your way out of places sometimes. So I've been playing this classified 1944. I played it when it came out last year, I think. And it got too easy. So I'm like trying to play it through to see if I can make it to the way where the Allies land. And I was kicking everybody's ass, and I came to this one mission where I just got hosed. And you could start over. I'm like, nah, let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. had this one mission where I have to defend this house before the Gestapo show up. And the Gestapo, of course, are like, not normal Gestapo, like, child molester. Hey, like, not like Tote, right? Not the child molester Gestapo. They're like these badasses with MP40s. They show up, and of course, you're already spent. You've already knocked out 14 guys. Your 4 guys have already killed 14 or 15 guys. And they show up, and you're like, you don't have any grenades left, and that kind of stuff. So, who was the other clown going to be? Tobin? I got a guy named Maroon. Hey, what a Maroon. Gotta have some guy looking really silly for that guy. Tossin' Tobin. Tobin the Tosser. But I've never gotten a better value out of a game. Well, that's not true. But one of the ones that I remember right now I got the best value is those damn Drive on Moscow and Battle of the Bulge. I actually unlocked all the things in Battle of the Bulge. I've never done that in any single game. Like, you need to do this. You need to surround this many units. You need to do that. Yeah. Yeah, let me just play the battle and see if it happens. I did it. I done did it. And that's not why I'm painting these Battle of the Bulge guys. I'm like, let's do something different. I'm experimenting with the snow. So, all right, let's get this. I don't need very much of this at all. I stepped outside to say goodbye to the wife. She's gone for the weekend. She's gone until Monday, actually. And I guess the pollen got me. Well, the weather changed again. Now it's cool. Moody ass weather here. I mean, I don't mind it being cool, but this didn't used to happen to me when I was in my 40s. I've only been in one baseball game. If I had to play a sport that wasn't kickball, it'd be something baseballish. I was never any good at it because I didn't have a dad that was a sports guy, so I didn't have anybody to like throw the ball with. You know, I'm not complaining about my dad. I mean, if he was a history guy. If not, I'd be some dumbass would be watching sports in there instead of painting World War II shit. Or I'd have some dad that was his favorite movie would be Kelly's Heroes. I don't think my dad ever saw that movie. If he did, he wouldn't like it. He'd be like, my dad's just like very intellectual. He'd have been like, that's stupid. Although we did watch Hogan's Heroes together, but that's supposed to be a comedy, with a laugh track and everything. Old Kelly's Heroes. I'll watch it. I'll give it another watch if I ever see it on. But Hanrahan's Boots. Hanrahan's got to be a ginger. All right. All right, so we know what stage these are in. I'd like to goop them both at the same time. So let's wait for his boots to be done. We'll polish them, and then we'll put the goop. It's relatively early, so we should be able to do that. And we'll stuff that sign in there. All right. So who's next of these three clowns? And I'm tempted to go get the Platoon 20 guys to look at them, but I need to get these guys done. I'm not guaranteed that I'm going to get into those Platoon 20 guys. These guys actually look good. So we painted him. We painted him. Let's do this rifle grenade dude. This guy's got an old man look about him. Maybe he's, old, like 28. 28-year-old infantryman. Shit, that's almost half my age. Punk ass. All right, let's move this off the side so don't get confused. And let's put a new batch in here. Jeffrey, you listen to all my podcast stuff, so I think you're trying. I think you want to study. You're always studying for that quiz we haven't had yet. But did you see that article that I found about the armor division with the nicknames of the tanks? That was pretty cool. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there that just hasn't been found. There's just really, really interesting stuff out there. Did I manage to get your tank nerds in a row? Which tank nerds? Last time I said tank nerds, I was talking about the model meeting people. But that's the call tomorrow. I'll have a conference call, I think at 10:30. A Zoom call. I mean, there's stuff that I nerd out about, no doubt about it. And it may not be what somebody else gets excited about. Somebody's like, it's not the right road wheels on the Sherman or whatever. It's whatever. I don't worry about that stuff. If the model came that way, I'll build it that way for the most part. But markings, yeah, I nerd out about markings because I find it interesting, and nicknames and stuff like that. Oh yeah, yeah. Nobody commented on it. A few people come in and make comments. Everybody else just comes by and goes, "Man, what the hell is this guy on?" And then some people, I think, just keep their hands in their pants and get excited. Whatever. Don't make me watch. Although I have a feeling the number of those people has diminished ever since we haven't seen Mitch's feet on for a couple of years. Mitch's feet OnlyFans. No, thank you. Yeah, I get into the freaking markings, man. That's cool. But I don't. I want to find out what the nicknames are, not to use those, but to do other ones that are made up, but in the same spirit of the ones that exist. Jumbos, man. I like Jumbo is a damn good looking Sherman. I really like the way a Jumbo looks, and it can be the 75 millimeter on Jumbo. It doesn't matter. It looks good. It's a good looking tank. But there was that one. Um, there was that one tank that was called After Hitler. So I'm like, oh, I never thought about using After as the first name in the A company. In other words, multiple things. I would tend to like if something has like an A name, if it's like a company that has all A's, and you need to have a name that starts with an A, and I give it a compound name, like two names, I would be likely to put two names that both start with the same letter. So, for instance, I would have called it after Adolf, or have it rhyme or something like that. After disaster. Does that rhyme? After disaster? After? I guess no. Maybe yes, no. Have another drink, but something like that. Akinani. I got C's. I got A's. What else do I have on the tanks? That's it. I got a lot of Shermans to give nicknames to. I got a lot of them to dress up. Like, look at this guy. There's nothing wrong with this one. This one's technically complete. This is a Corgi M4A3 75. No nickname. No, that just won't stand. But it also doesn't have black lining or rustification on it. So this is one to be revisited. You know, those are damn good little. If they fall on your foot, you're screaming. But those are damn good little models. But they're die cast, so I can't add an antenna to it. I don't want to get a diamond plated drill. Drilling into die cast is just hazardous to your health. That's a high risk activity. Jacques Slabert, man, you haven't been here in a while, man. How are you? You busy trying to keep people out of jail? See, I remember. Welcome to Zangora. What is South Africa? South Africa is even with like Uruguay, right? The bottom of South Africa is even with Uruguay, if I remember correctly. In other words, South America goes a lot farther south than South Africa does. Or maybe I got that wrong. I've never looked into it. Yeah, I was asking that crew on the armored car, on that Humber armored car in the reenactment about the South. They just, I didn't feel like they really knew much about what they were doing. I mean, it was cool that one guy said he was there with his grandson. That's pretty neat, but I didn't feel like they had a good grasp of what they were doing there. I mean, they were firing a boy's anti-tank rifle in support, suppressing fire with a boy's anti-tank rifle. Absolutely not. Those look like Mars. Yes, you win the lottery, my friend. That's exactly what they are. So Marcus, who comes on this channel all the time, sent me several months ago like this package of a care package of all these like plastic figures, and I'm like, I wanted to try out snow, so I did some snow guys, and these are, I call them bulge Americans, but they could be useful for other things as well. Trench coated Americans, overcoat Americans, not trench coat. Trench coat has either kinky connotations or I want to see your papers connotations, you know, or maybe kinky, I want to see your papers connotations. So, yeah, so I wanted to try the snow and ended up using a product that worked pretty well, just one product, because I don't really like the sprinkle snow that I have. Oh, hold on one second. Hold on one second. I got a message. I will be right back. I have to text a response back, which means this thing will act weird. Okay. You have them in your pile as well. Yeah, I just, when somebody sends me something, I feel guilty not painting them up. They're kind of a priority. Now, if it's something I don't like at all, that's different. But I liked everything he sent to me. But he's like, hey, I can send you more. I'm like, don't send me anything else. Like, I'm kidding. I mean, I don't regret doing these guys. I look, it's an opportunity to learn another skill. I didn't know how to do snow. I didn't know how to do snow, so I tried snow. Now I know how to do snow, and I'm happy with the results. So, and we got these damn snow tanks that are, they look like a melted asshole on a popsicle. They're really terrible, but they'll work fine for games. They're going to be on stands, and then it'll look more snow-like. But um, and I'm probably going to put some standing snow in certain places to cover up the potholes. They're really really poor. They're BP cast, that and this one, and we got to build up the back of this one. Does this one even have the drippings yet? No, we're not to that point yet on this one. Yeah, we need to cover up the back, and because it has exactly the same equipment that looks randomly put on there, so it's randomly exactly the same. Like that won't work. That won't work. Yeah, but I dry brushed. I primed all my Africa core stuff and my desert rats, and just like, oh, shiny. Now I'm doing this. It happens. As long as I'm working on something, it doesn't really matter what I'm working on. So this weekend, I'm planning on making a snowmat, or failing in the process, or realizing what I need to do. But I've got these little bits of felt. They're 8.5 by 11, like a sheet of paper size somewhere. I looked for them on top, from the DBA days of using felt. God help me. But I've got some, and I'd like to try a couple different things on it before I go and get a big one. And one of the things I want to try on it is, I've got like a one that's almost the same color. They make a felt that's almost the same color as this really dark brown. I think that's the color I should use as the basis. That's the color I should use as the basis. And that way it'll match everything else. It'll match the undercarriage color on the tanks. And but I want to try it on a small one to see if it works. I don't like how it sprays. Maybe it looks too much like fur. Solve all those things with something I already have. Maybe spend a half hour on it and realize if that's the way forward. The problem with using felt is that it's thick. But that's also the good thing about it. But the bad thing about it being thick is I can't use the magnet thing with the trees. The magnets aren't strong enough to go through the felt. So if I put like a metal washer underneath the felt and put my trees with a magnet on it, they could just stand like that. But there's not that many trees really in the winter stuff. Certainly if I'm using them for wintergewitter, there's like no tree. There's hardly any trees at all. There'll be like a little group of trees and like no fucking trees for miles. It's all whatever those things are called. The Germans would call them Rachels, the ruts, the Russian wadis. But it's worth it. I'm comfortable enough with the epoxy. No, yeah, I'm comfortable enough with the epoxy, but epoxy has no place for this. I'm comfortable enough with the airbrush now that now is the time to do it. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm not really proficient with this. Let's not try that now. And like, I may have like the right idea, but I don't have the skills to be able to finish to do the job correctly. Same thing like that Cromwell models. I had a Cromwell models Tiger 1 late with Zimrit on it. I got it. It's absolutely freaking gorgeous. And I looked at this and I'm like, I don't have the skills to paint this right now. So I sat on it for 20 years. So when I finally got around to painting it, it looked fucking awesome. But I took my time. Like I knew like, okay, this is gonna require a different skill set. I had it so long the barrel broke. To fix the barrel. But they're smart enough, like they put like a piece of metal through the barrel, so there's some stiffness through there, like a piece of wire. So we got some interesting stuff coming up in the next month. Um, we got our hobby meeting. We'll have our model meeting on Tuesday with a Russian theme. I think I have enough Russian things to bring. And a swap meet, which I forgot about. There's a swap meet afterwards. Now I don't have any high hopes for that because I'm only interested in 1/72 scale armor, and I don't need any. So no big whoop. But last time they had one, I did pick up that King Tiger. This guy, it's not complete yet. I knew all along I was gonna make it snow. It just needs to be black lined and everything else done to it. So we're gonna put a Hessler looking figure in the turret. This will be Hessler's King Tiger. Probably do a number that ends in 01 or 00 or 02, probably for that tank, with decals, because Gonna have outline numbers. There's that one bulge scenario that actually has a king tiger in it. That might be the one to do, but it's funny. I was looking at the American forces in that, and I have them all. Between these guys, there's not that they don't have that many American things. Between these guys, the 57 millimeter gun crews, a couple guys with flamethrowers from Platoon 20, I think I got all the figures to be able to do that scenario, or that's scenario-ish or part of that scenario. But it's a hokey scenario that tries to play, the last drive of Kampfgruppe Piper or something like that on a board with, you know, ish terrain, like, oh, this is Ardennes-ish terrain. So maybe there's something from that I can kind of work towards, but paint up a German half track and with snow camouflage, the King Tiger. Might even be tempted to do some SS boys. I don't know. That's one thing I never attempted. I didn't think I had the skill set. I think I can handle that now. But I don't want to get bogged into making stuff specifically for a scenario. Because that's a shitload of work for me. And that's honestly the last thing I need right now. We need liberation, not problems. Not until that global recession that I'm praying for hits. What name will I give what? The King Tiger? Well, he doesn't have a he doesn't have a he doesn't have a thing, but if I did, I'd call him Kessler. It's like Kessler, but not. That's one of those World War II characters I grew up with. And people hate that movie. People hate, oh, Battle of the Bulge is a terrible movie. I said, okay, sure. Okay. But at least they didn't use an Israeli tank for an American tank. Okay. For a German tank. All right. That's a sin. That somebody's going to hell for that one. That's like a no-no. And they used the German tanks. They used a bigger tank with a turret overhang. At least I don't know. I don't think it was that bad. It could have been much worse. It could have been much worse. And it was always on in here in my part of the United States. Always on. You can't watch movies that are never on. Back in the 70s, the 80s. I didn't watch the movies in the 70s, in the 80s. I was 9 and I was 79. I was what? How old was I? 8. Yeah, I wasn't even 10. And I wasn't even 10 in the 70s. Thank goodness I don't remember all that weird shit y'all used to wear, corduroy pants and crap like that. I wore corduroy pants. You know why? Because my mama fucking dressed me in the 70s. I'm 8 years old. 7 years old. Maybe not dressed me, but told you what you're gonna wear. The king tiger in the film used big cat names as radio call signs. Oh yeah, tanks, tiger, and leopard. Yeah, that was bullshit. Yeah, no, that's stupid. Get that American piece of junk out of the way. When I found out that Robert Shaw actually wasn't blonde, I'm like, what? He's like a stereotypical. I mean, he was cast really well as a German. Really, really fucking well. Oh well. Yeah, that's your piperish guy. Which is funny. I've never been when I built models at 135th scale models, and I built German models. I tended to either do stuff that was 116th Panzer Division or Grossdeutschland. I never did SS shit. I don't find it attractive. There's like an other layer of like, you guys definitely knew you were up to some bad shit kind of thing. You know, I don't like it. And I'm not even related to anybody. Well, we're all related to everybody, but that's beside the point. But I'm not even one of the groups that the Nazis were going after. My demographics weren't one of them. So, but still, it's just like I don't like going to reenacting. Why are all these guys reenacting SS guys? Like, no me gusta, no me gusta. It just sets a bad. It just doesn't feel right. I got to go get a Coke. You've motivated me to get a Coke. I'll be right back. But I probably have two squads of SS to paint. Oh, I still had coffee. I'm just tired of that taste in my mouth. Robert Shaw played blonde more than his natural hair color. German and Russian. Red Grant was Russian? I couldn't remember. He did a good job in that, but he had like, the speaking roles of like, I think he had like 3 lines. That movie. So we watched all the Bond movies in order, all the way through the first Dalton one. And then we lost that, ran out of steam. We'll pick it back up again, but. Oh, and then we skipped the second Dalton one and watched GoldenEye. Because I'm like, I hadn't seen GoldenEye. Which everybody says, oh, it's a good movie. It's not. The stunts are terrible. The plot might be fine, but the stunts are ridiculous. I was expecting better. Uh, let's go ahead and cover this guy in the clear coat. And I fell asleep in the second Bond movie. And I just don't think she was cast well. I don't think the Italian girl that's supposed to be Russian was a good cast. I mean, Red Grant was great. That fight scene was great, no doubt about it. I don't dislike Connery. I didn't grow up with Connery, but I don't dislike Connery. But that movie put me to sleep. It was a little too slow paced. Like the first movie, I was expecting it to be really boring. And it kind of was. And it didn't put me to sleep because I was kind of prepared. But I was expecting the second one, and I had already seen them all. I'd seen them all except like 3 movies. I think the only one I haven't seen now is Solace. Solace is the only one I haven't seen. And everybody says it sucks. Okay, I don't care. I still have to see it. I'll see it for free. But there's some contrarian people on there. I mean, there's people that have completely different opinions than I do. Shit, which one of these is which one's the glue and which one's the goo? All right. We're gonna put this one on the edge. I don't want to have this. We don't need this kind of a fatal mistake. Okay. There's people that are just like freaking trolls. And the perfect example of being a troll is people that actually, there's actually people that have posted that thought that the best Bond was Lazenby. And I'm like, you're on something. You're obviously on something, and you've run out. You're on medication and you're out of medication. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but man, that's the wrong take on that. Now, given I thought that movie was going to be worse than it was. That's not saying anything because I thought that movie was going to be trash. But Telly Savalas is way too likable to be a bad guy of any stretch of the imagination. I can spend all day talking about Bond movies, but well, enjoy it while you can. It's all going to be transgendered women from now on. All the Bonds is what I hear. All the Bond girls are going to be two baggers. Oh man. Well, I don't have that problem because I've never read any of the books. But these Hollywood people do that all the time. Like, this is a great story. We gotta fuck with it. Like, why? It's a great story. The only book and movies that I have seen, and it's mainly because I'm just not interested. They don't make movies about the books I like. Is Jurassic Park. That's the only ones that I've seen the movies and have listened to the books. And they're pretty close considering how they twist how movies twist everything. They're pretty close, but it's always interesting to see that the changes, why they decided to make the changes that they made. Like, why didn't they stick with the way it was in the book? You know, it's interesting what they kept the same and what they changed. Yep, we're still painting infantry, Tritarch. Sorry, I think we're on an infantry tear for a while. All right, let's get the old goop out. Yeah, I don't like the drying time of this. I would have just rolled into this instead of like starting to paint somebody's overcoat. But I'm like, I gotta wait, so I might as well do something. It is the one. It's the infantry are the ones that the game revolves around. The game all revolves around the people because to get the tank to fire, to move, to anything, it's a soldier's action. Whether or not you see the actual guy on the field, there's still a person there, and it all revolves around the people. They're the ones that throw the grenade that doesn't land where it's supposed to, and chaos ensues. Which is funny because in that classified 44, the grenades never bounce. They land exactly where you want them to. They may not do the amount of damage you want them to, but they always land where you throw them. And let's get the rock out here. I like to put it out here so I don't forget to put this in there, and then it's an issue. We definitely need the rocks, especially with doing the snow terrain, because you can do the snow around some of the rocks and makes it look more believable. Yeah, make these guys look like they're fighting in a field, not on a fucking penny. Tobin the Tosser. Oh my God. I'll have to comment on her later. All war comes down to the humble infantryman and his rifle. Yep. Or one without. Gotta go get one. Yep. I don't want a game that's too much infantry. You know, like, what was that game that, man, I did not like that game. And everybody, well, I don't know. It's a bit of a, there are people that dislike this game, but one that gets a lot of accolades is, God, I need to have like a little notes of things I talk about and always seem to forget what the hell they're called when I get back down to it. That game that doesn't use any dice. That squad leader-esque type game that doesn't use any dice. That has this name that's not my favorite type of game. Not my favorite type of name. It's just kind of a bit lame. I can't remember what it is. Anyways, I thought, oh, I like this because I like random events. I really do like random events. I like things that happen that you can't count on. That's fine. I don't have to plan for them, right? You can kind of have a general idea what you're going to do, but just work it out as you go. Combat commander. Just a vague, like, combat commander. I'm like, oh, I probably like this game. Nope. Oh, you don't roll dice? Fuck you. You know, that's like eating somebody's lunch. Like, what's this in the fridge? I don't know. I'll go ahead and eat that. And then you don't have a lunch. Some fucker ate my lunch. You don't get to roll any dice. Screw you. Who the hell are you not to make me roll dice? Them's fighting words, asshole. I'm adamant about that. Oh, we get to shuffle cards. Oh, great. Not only do I not get to roll dice, now I have to shuffle cards. I'd rather go to work and not get paid than shuffle cards. Never liked any of these diceless games. Malifaux is an exception. What do we got here? Off to see The Amateur. Catch you later sometime over that marathon weekend. The Amateur. Some new movie. Yeah, it's close to noon where he's at. Old Blighty. I think that's what it's called. You know, I could do without going to the movie theater. That's not the same as they should ban all movie theaters. They shouldn't ban anything. But I don't really have most movies are suck. They cost a shitload of money. You got to watch how much you drink, and I just mean like liquids, so you don't have to go pee or be uncomfortable. It just isn't worth it. Yeah, we're gonna have a marathon weekend. The wife left for several days to go down south. She got deported for a few days. Got deported back to Miami. She just has an event and I have to work. I don't have any vacation days left. Call me crazy, but I would love British weather. I stayed. I wouldn't want. I don't want lack of sunshine. I don't want lack of sunshine. It is. It. I'd eat too much ice cream. You know, when it's dreary and cold. You know, I like wet and cold, but I also like the sunshine. Stayed in Washington State for almost a week visiting a friend, and it rained the entire time, and he loved it. I wouldn't like Washington State, man. There's some freak people out there. That's where they always burn things. They always destroy things, and the government doesn't stop them. They burned my house. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Like, what are the cops doing? You know, smoking doobs? They tried that shit in Florida when they started doing those protests several years ago, and the Miami police cops. It was wiffle paddle whooping day. It was like pinata day on the people were like rock jumping on the cop cars. They scattered that crowd quick. We don't put around with that. We don't play around with that shit. It's either that or, if the cops aren't going to do their jobs, then, let's go rooftop Korean on their ass. I don't want to live in a place where people just don't respect your stuff. You don't respect my stuff, and we don't take any prisoners then. Yeah, I think everybody's just on something now. I had this one guy at work they said was a long time ago, before it was like really popular now, that was a pothead. Not a guy I work with, just a guy out in the shop. They always claim, this guy's a pothead. And he was always wound up. I mean, he was always angry. And I'm like, man, I thought that stuff was supposed to calm you down. And then somebody said, well, you're calm unless you can't get any. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Because those guys are like, love thy neighbor and all that, unless he disagrees with me, in which case, burn all the shit down. I drink tea and eat soup during rainy days, like a proper Brit. Um, I only saw Britain for 48 hours, but I like Spain more because it's my country of origin. Nah, I just felt like I belonged there. I just felt like I looked like I belonged there more than a lot of people that were there. Let's put it that way. No, I could feel the history. Even in Britain, I could like there was just something in me. It like that woke up. As I love America, but our history's garbage. Or it's a history I'm not interested in at all. That doesn't mean I dislike this country by any stretch of the imagination. It just means I don't like I'm not interested in the history of this country. Your country's origin is Scotland and Ireland. Have you ever worn a kilt before? See, I don't have to because that's not my responsibility. That's that's if I want to wear a dress, I'll live vicariously through you. Yes, and you have one. Do you have Do you have your own tartan thing? Your own tartan clan? See, I'm not into the kilt thing, but I think the having a tartan history thing, I think that's pretty fucking cool. I think that's really cool. Unless you have a shitty one. You don't have like the one from like Scottish Inns or anything, right? I think that's really neat. I think that's really, really neat. Um, I have this one, the mother in law went to Scotland and she brought me back this scarf. And it's a gray Thompson, Thomson. And I love it. I love it. I really do. And it goes with everything. And it's not super like, it doesn't scream, he got them guy that bagpipes, but it like I like wearing it. So when it's cold, I take it with me. I brought it to on my European trip. It went with me. No use for one of those in Florida, but your colors are yellow, black, blue, and green. No red, huh? No red for you. What do you have left that you didn't take? White and red, right? That's all of them. I guess there are some colors that aren't as common, like the browns and stuff. This one's gray, black, and red, but doesn't look like, some communist banner. Yeah, I think the tartan thing is really neat. So that silly ass Disney movie Brave, they if I was going to paint my pre-feudal Scots, which that was one of the armies I was looking forward to doing, just from the challenge of doing tartan without tartan. Say, oh well, tartan didn't exist until no, tartan always existed. The problem is that there wasn't a tie-in with certain colors and certain clans until much later. But you got guys that those barbarians that were there when the Romans invaded had some tartan colored things. It might have been whatever fucking colors they wanted, It didn't have any significance behind it, but they already used that. They were already using that kind of stuff. But Disney went and there's like a official tartan registry something or another. I was looking into it when I was looking into those different colors to paint things, and they actually created their own tartan that has like yellow and purple or something like that. I mean, it looks good, but it's a make believe tartan for that make believe clan in that movie. I mean, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, here's your guy right here, since you're Scots and Irish and all that. Hanrahan with a BAR. Sounds like somebody who's a boxer. He likes firing something that packs a punch. The thing about the BAR is it's heavy, so yeah, it kicks a lot, but it's heavy, so that helps the kick thing. No red. Ain't a comedy. Yeah, me neither. I had this discussion with somebody that really pissed me off. I saw that there was this when these guys, the people that work for Viejo, went on protest. They say several months ago. They're which is fine. I mean, if you have unfair wages, hey, you don't need to be a slave, okay? But you also don't need to go on protest slinging around flags that have communist connotations to me, because I won't take your side. I mean, it's that simple. Like, there's lots of other colors. Why are you slinging the red and black around? Well, that's the colors of the yeah, it's the colors of the fucking commies. So I'm really I'm really in tune with that, considering my people, my dad left the country that went communist. So yeah, I don't fuck commies. I have zero sympathy for that shit. That's why I like the Eastern Front. Commies and Nazis are killing each other. Perfect. One big happy ending. Or do the capitalist thing. Find something you're good at and start a business. Capitalism works. Well, as long as it's not crony capitalism, which is what we have all along. We didn't know it. We didn't know it. We thought we had A and we had B. Doing something you're good at works. Make yourself marketable. All right, we're going to use, this is the Yoga Sniper. Yeah, something even smells of communism. My radar goes off like, nope. That doesn't mean I don't paint communist tanks, but there's one guy in this one forum was like, oh, wasn't until the Russians invaded Ukraine. Every time I see a red star now, I think of them the bad guys. Those motherfuckers were always the bad guys. They always were. My dad never understood. He didn't understand why the Western Allies had to deal with Stalin. I said he had to fight the Germans whether he wanted to or not. And he went and invaded a bunch of other countries while he had to, deal with Hitler. I'd say freaking let him rot. I'll never forget that about him. They got to fight the Germans whether they want to or not. Nope. God, it's an awful big stand, but it's going to keep me from touching his feet or something like that and scrubbing the paint off. It sounds kind of kinky. You feet toucher. Since that's all the rage now. Your dad had me read books on communism at an early age and taught me to think for myself and never follow the crowd. Yep. Yeah, the crowd pretty much sucks no matter what. All right, this is not straight across. It's a bit queer. What? I'm using it in a proper context. I don't have a problem with queer people as long as they're anti-communist. No, it'll work fine. We'll put a clump of something there. Yeah, this is the only guy that I have that has a scoped Springfield. And before we get too carried away, should have some scraps here. Magnetic scraps. Could make it out of plastic, but I feel like the wood holds the. Oh, I don't like this at all. This is much better. This is magnetic, isn't it? I gotta be careful because I got some metal stuff too, like this. Okay. Oh, this is a real stand. Okay, well, if I'm gonna do that, but it's not a heavy duty magnet. I can tell it doesn't have enough. It doesn't have much grippage. We'll roll with it. It'll be fine. This doesn't weigh hardly anything at all. And you call this guy, the way he's sitting right there, dude shoots like a lady. He's just in some yoga pose-ish. I get in that pose, I'm not getting up. And I don't really consider myself somebody who's like really out of shape. Whether I am or not, that's irrelevant. But I'm not one of those, I can't get up off the floor. No, I just don't want to play a whole war game on the floor because you're uncomfortable. Yoga sniper. You have difficulty implementing snipers in your war game from the company level. So this game allows you to save the turn of some characters, and the sniper's one of them. So if their chit comes up, you can hold on to it. But I don't think I don't think you can interrupt somebody else's move. So for instance, which is really that's the problem with opportunity fire. It's not that you can control everything, but it's like I'm getting ready to move this guy, and when I come across it, oh, stop it right there. That's when I'm gonna take a shot at him. That takes forever and is hokey and shit like that. But being able, okay, this guy goes next. Do you want to use your sniper? No, like, all right. Do you want to go now? No. Okay. Well, then you pull a chit. Oh, it's Jackson. Then Jackson does his thing. You don't get to interrupt Jackson. You know, but if you want to go before Jackson goes, you need to. And then when Jackson's done, before we pull another chip, do you want to go? If you've already like pulled something for this guy. All right, gluing on wood. Normally I would use epoxy. I don't want to mix just a tiniest bit of epoxy at all. Super glue, I don't have any that's really confident in. Hot glue, I don't want to melt the dude. I think we're going to try using this super glue and see how it works. Ah, damn it. This is this adjustable one. All right. Op fire is often hokey in war games. Yep. I'd rather have reactions than interruptions. Yeah. Interruptions they slow everything down. They really slow everything down, and they're susceptible to be like, oh, I stopped this guy before. You already have the information when you interrupt the guy of where he's going to. So you have that, you already have that in your mind. All right, so we got Valdez, Murphy, Bishop, Tobin, and Hanrahan. Yeah, and then we gotta stop for the going to the damn salt mine place. Fridays, I hate Fridays. I hate Fridays. I'm tired. And nobody wants to do anything. People think that Friday's like a weekend. No, it's not. It's the hardest day of the week. Crossfire handles it better, in my opinion. Don't really interrupt. You just stop the opponent's movement to resolve an op fire. Yeah, I watched a demo playing Crossfire, and it was innovative, but I don't know about using D6s. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.